Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive into Real Estate by Team Luddy Dillon. This is the place where we simplify real estate for you, one topic at a time. Enjoy.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I know a lot of you out there are interested in real estate, and especially here in Ontario.
Absolutely.
It's a hot topic.
It is.
But there's a lot to know, right? And one of the things
Yeah,
that can really trip people up
for sure.
are the taxes.
Huge.
So many different taxes to think about.
Yeah.
We're actually part of Laddie Dillon's real estate team,
That's right.
and we work with folks in the Peel region,
Yeah,
specifically Brampton, Caledon, and Mississauga.
for sure.
And Laddie's been doing this
Fellow time.
since 2007.
Yeah,
So we figured, why not share some of what we've learned over the years with all of you?
absolutely.
So think of this deep dive as like your cheat sheet to Ontario real estate taxes.
Yeah, like leveling up in a video game without all the penalties.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter where you are on your real estate journey, whether you're just thinking about buying your first place or you're a seasoned investor,
Mhm.
we're going to cover the essentials to help you make smart decisions.
That's right.
So let's jump right in. One of the biggies that everyone talks about are capital gains taxes.
Yeah.
So can you give us like a quick breakdown of what those are all about?
Yeah, so basically, whenever you sell a property for more than what you originally bought it for,
Okay.
that profit that you make is considered a capital gain.
Okay.
And usually you got to pay tax on like a part of that gain.
So like, let's say hypothetically,
Yeah.
I bought a house for $500,000 and then I sell it later on
Mm-hmm.
for $700,000.
Okay.
So I'm looking at a $200,000 capital gain there, right?
Right.
So does that mean I'm paying taxes on the whole $200,000?
Not necessarily. No, you only pay taxes on like half of it, on 50% of the capital gain.
Oh, okay.
So in that example that you just gave, you would only be taxed on like $100,000.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
But are there ways to kind of like offset that, or is that just like what you got to pay?
No, there are definitely ways to offset it, and it's actually really interesting how it all works.
Tell me more.
Let's say, a couple years ago, you invested in a rental property, and it didn't really work out the way you hoped it would,
Oh, no.
and you had to sell it for a loss.
Okay.
So you actually end up selling it for less than what you bought it for.
Right.
And that loss that you took is actually called a capital loss.
Okay. And you can actually use that capital loss
Yes.
to offset your capital gains from
No.
other properties that you sell.
Exactly.
So it's like they kind of balance each other out a bit.
It is a little bit of a balancing act, yeah. And the more you understand about how capital gains and capital losses work,
Yeah.
the better you can plan your investments and actually,
Reduce
reduce how much.
You owe in taxes.
Exactly. And of course, these rules can get really complicated. And it's always a good idea to talk to a tax professional.
Oh, for sure.
They can help you figure out, what the best strategies are and make sure that you're doing everything the right way.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around the CRA.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely not.
All right, so we've covered capital gains and losses, but there's this other thing that I keep hearing about, and it's this new property flipping rule.
Yeah.
So is that like if I wanted to buy a fixer-upper,
Yeah.
like do some renovations, make it look really pretty, and then sell it,
Yeah.
I'm going to get hit with like a ton of extra taxes.
Yeah. So it can be a little tricky with that new rule that the government brought in January 2023.
Okay.
Because what they're doing is they're targeting people who they think are flipping properties.
Okay.
So if you buy a property and then sell it within 12 months,
Right.
any profit that you make on that sale is actually considered business income
Oh.
and not a capital gain.
Okay.
And the problem is business income is taxed at a way higher rate.
Oh, so even if I'm just like, putting in a little bit of sweat equity,
Yeah.
I could end up losing a lot of money to the government.
You could, yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of how it works now.
So like not even the principal residence exemption would apply in that situation.
No, it doesn't. And that's a really good question because a lot of people don't understand what the principal residence exemption is.
Yeah. What is that?
So it's kind of like the holy grail of real estate tax breaks.
Ooh. Yeah.
So it basically means that you don't have to pay capital gains tax when you sell your primary home, the place where you and your family actually live.
Okay. So like I could sell my house for $1 million and I wouldn't have to pay any taxes on that profit.
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Oh.
There are a few requirements that you have to meet.
Okay.
So first of all, you actually have to own the property.
Yeah.
And either you or a family member actually has to live there.
Okay.
And you have to officially declare it as your principal residence every year that you own it.
So, like, I couldn't just go out and buy, like, a vacation property in Muskoka and be like, oh, this is my principal residence now.
No.
And then sell it tax-free.
The CRA is pretty strict about this exemption.
Okay.
And are definitely watching for people who try to bend the rules.
Yeah.
I actually heard a story about this guy who had multiple properties.
Uh-oh.
And he was kind of playing fast and loose with his principal residence declarations.
Yeah.
And he ended up with a massive tax bill
Yeah.
because he didn't understand the rules properly.
Yeah. You really got to be careful with that stuff.
Yeah, we do.
So, okay, so we've talked about capital gains and losses. We've talked about this flipping rule and the principal residence exemption.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about this underused housing tax that I keep hearing about?
Yeah.
What is that all about?
So that one is specifically aimed at homes that are left empty for a long time.
Okay, so like mansions and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes, people will have a mansion and they don't even live there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have an investment property and they just haven't rented it out.
Okay.
So basically the government's saying, hey, if you're not going to use that property, then you're going to have to pay up.
Okay.
So it's really about trying to encourage people to actually use these properties that they own.
And address the housing shortage.
Yeah.
Now, earlier, we were joking a little bit about Big Brother watching, but it sounds like the CRA really is cracking down when it comes to real estate.
Oh, yeah, they definitely are.
So how worried should we be about getting audited?
It's not really about being worried.
Okay.
It's more about just making sure you're doing everything the right way.
Okay.
So the CRA, they're using all this fancy data analytics to keep track of transactions and to find anything that seems kind of fishy.
Okay.
But, honestly, this is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it helps to keep things fair and it prevents people from, trying to cheat the system.
Yeah.
But it does mean that you have to be really careful about keeping all your records organized.
So no more like shoeboxes full of receipts.
Probably not the best idea. No.
Okay.
Keep everything organized. And if you're not sure about something, always talk to a professional.
Always talk to a professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here today. Capital gains, flooding, the principal residence exemption, underused housing tax, and the CRA watching everything that we do.
Yep.
So if someone's listening to this right now and they're feeling maybe a little bit overwhelmed, what would you say is the most important thing for them to remember?
I think the biggest thing is just that the more you know about these rules, the better off you're going to be.
Right.
You can make smarter decisions.
Yeah.
And you can avoid making costly mistakes.
Yeah.
And, you don't have to figure all of this out on your own.
Right.
There are people who can help you.
Yeah. Like Laddie Dillon and his team.
Exactly.
Here at the Peel region.
Yep, they're the best.
They really know their stuff.
They do.
If you are thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, give Laddie a call.
For sure.
Before you do anything.
You won't regret it.
You will not regret it. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just remember that the world of real estate is always changing.
Yeah.
Especially the tax rules. So you got to stay informed. Yeah.
Ask questions and never stop learning.
Awesome advice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thanks to all of you for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We will be back with something new and something interesting.